What up, everybody? It's your boy Jeremy,
And Dyveonne.
and we're back at it again with another episode of Couples Couch. And this is episode 5, Becoming Parents.
Parents.
Like the stars in the sky, like the sand on the beach, it goes beyond measure. There is no place.
We wanted to go ahead and first off do a little quick recap like we like to do at the beginning of each episode. At the end of the last episode, Dyveonne made a statement that she wanted one. It wasn't a puppy or nothing like that. So when she said she wanted one, she wanted a child.
Yes.
We just celebrated Mother's and Father's Day. So we thought it was very befitting that we go ahead and talk about the process of how we became parents. And we are the proud parents of 2 children, Haley and Jeremiah. And we'll talk a little bit more about them as the episode goes on. So Dyveonne, you want to go ahead and start us out?
Yeah, so again, I expressed the desire to have one, meaning a child, but that has not always been my desire. As a kid, when I play with my dolls or baby dolls and things like that, I always refer to them as like niece and nephew or cousins, things like that. And I felt like that kind of protected my innocence and things like that. But I also, as stated in a previous episode, I assisted with my brothers. And so I felt like kids, in some cases, not just in my case, but even looking around, it seems like kids impacted all the things that you wanted to do. And so I was like, do I really want to be like held back? I want to be able to do my thing. So I had always been like,
thing?
yeah.
Oh,
My
this is
thing.
before.
That was just a statement, just something
I
to
just
be
want to
said.
see what your thing was.
Yeah, I'm so done. So I wanted to just be able to enjoy my life, do what I wanted to do, go whenever I wanted to go, things like that is what I mean by it, sweetie.
Okay.
And so I don't know, it's like once I got married, that began to change over time. I enjoy my time with Jeremy and everything, but you look at this person and you see these characteristics that they have, and you're like, man, I wonder what it would be like to build a family with this kid, look like Jeremy, with this kid, have my personality, things like that came
Just
up.
to interject real quick, when I look back at it now, I might have would have held off just a little bit longer.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
I mean, because we got married at 21, and I think you were 23 when you had Haley. So
I say that's pretty good.
I don't know. I was like, we needed to have been on a few vacations by ourselves a little bit before, we had some kids. But she kept asking. I just,
You're obliged.
I just like, okay, let me just give in to this. We married, but looking back in retrospect, I probably would have waited just a little bit longer so we could have had more time to enjoy ourselves before we jumped into it. But everything happens in God's timing. And so here we are.
Yeah, so that's a little bit about my background and how I ended up getting to this point. What was your view on children and things like that?
She already know me. I've always been very responsible young man.
Yes.
I've always known what I wanted in life, I wasn't indecisive about anything. I knew I wanted to be married. I wasn't about to be out here chasing down all these women and nothing like that. So I wanted to be married. I wanted to have kids. My parents, I think they wanted to name me Jeremiah initially. So in my mind, I always wanted a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I would speak his name. I'm going to have me a boy. His name going to be Jeremiah. So I already knew he's going to be a Jeremiah.
Okay. So let's talk about how it is that we found out we were pregnant. So again, we have stated that we are the proud parents of 2 children, one of which we had back in 2010. And Jeremy, do you remember how we found out we were pregnant back then?
I do, kinda. Listen, y'all, that was a long, long time ago. I can't hardly believe it's been 15 years since we got married, and that would have been like 14 years ago. But I remember us, you went to a doctor's appointment
to
get checked out for something else. And I went with her, back then we used to do everything together. So it's like, oh, you going to an appointment? I'm gonna come too. And just so happened that day, they like to do pregnancy checks on women whenever they, come in for visits. And that's when we found out. She was just like, did you know you were pregnant? We were like, huh?
Oh my gosh.
I know she been saying she want one, but she really got one up in there? What?
That's crazy. Yeah. At that time, I had that was at just like a primary care appointment and everything. And so I needed to find a gynecologist after that. I hadn't even really been to one. So that was like major. I remember reaching out to a friend of mine and she told me who she was going to. And I ended up having Dr. Gray, Deshandra Gray. And so those first appointments, it was a bit much for me because again, I had not been to a gynecologist. So all of this was new for me. Everything's out there in the open and whatnot. But it was something to experience, and I just felt like a little kid again. I ended up experiencing what they call hyperemesis. And so at the time, I was just thinking that this was normal morning sickness. It is a type of morning sickness, but it is more severe. So it caused me to be dehydrated. I was super weak all the time, and I couldn't keep anything down. Water, food, and it caused me to spit often.
Yeah, I can remember a lot of times we'd be driving to church or wherever, and she would just, Jeremy, I got to throw up, and I got to hurry up and pull over on the side of the road to hurry up because I don't want her to throw up in my car because I don't want to clean that up. But I remember that happening a lot, and not only that, she got really, I mean, it's not funny that she got sick, but she got really sick to the point where she had to go in the hospital because being dehydrated, vomiting so much, losing weight, she had to go in and get, IV and fluids. And during that time, I was just trying to be there as support to her, but just like all that vomiting and stuff, it was a lot, like a whole lot.
Yes, I can recall thinking, I thought I wanted one. But if this is what one does, it's only going to be one. And I'm hoping I can get that one here, safe and sound, without losing my mind. It took a toll on me big time.
And you had one doctor at first, because when you first got pregnant, we were staying in one area. And then we moved from that location to another location, and you end up switching doctors later.
Yes, I ended up switching over to a male doctor, which I say complicated things because I was like, I'm already uncomfortable with these gynecologist appointments, period, with a woman. So then having a male, it was like, oh my gosh, this is so much. Oh my gosh. So I'm grateful though, because Jeremy is the one that found that doctor for me, but he ended up being pretty good for me, which I am grateful for.
Yeah, I don't really want no other man looking, but I looked up his ratings. I'm a big ratings guy, so like people raving about him online and stuff. I was like, and then I will tell you about that a little bit later. It ended up being a blessing. We'll tell you about that part later. Hey everybody, real quick, we're on a mission to try and grow our channel to 1,000 subscribers, but we need your help to do so.
Please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. We ask that you also give this video a big thumbs up. We appreciate your continued support. God bless.
God bless you.
So I ended up having this condition, and it lasted up until about, I want to say 7-8 months into the pregnancy. So I didn't get to feeling like I could run on and see what the end was going to be until towards the end. And it impacted me like working and things like that. But I was able to get to a place of semi-enjoying the pregnancy. Do you recall when we found out what we were having?
I don't remember. It was probably like 4 or 5 months into it.
I think so. Yeah.
But I got the 3D ultrasound.
Yes.
That was something that was new technology that I was interested in. Let me see, what my kid looks like, and then we'll find out the sex or whatever. And that's when we got the news that we were having a girl.
And it was crazy because I wanted a girl, but everyone kept telling me that because of how my stomach was and all of that, it was going to be a boy. So I had just embraced the fact that it was possibly going to be a boy. So when they said a girl, we was like...
Yeah, for me, I've been speaking Jeremiah into existence. So you said it's a girl? You sure?
It was so funny. I think they were even a little concerned because our expressions and everything were kind of like, what are we gonna do?
I originally was like, I don't want to see a girl look like me, a female with hair looking like me. I was like, it's gonna be kind of weird, but
he sure was like that. I was like,
and then on top of that, most of my family typically had boys. Like my dad had boys, my mom had boys. My brother ended up having a lot of girls, which kind of baffles us. That's initially my mindset. My family has boys. I know it's a boy. So when they said it was a girl, I was like, "Ooh, Lord, I hope she looked beautiful." Which you gonna expect your kids gonna look beautiful anyway. But I'm just picturing me with a lot of hair looking like a girl, and I was like, "Boy, I hope I don't look weird."
Oh my gosh. He did say that, and I was just like, oh my gosh. But we embraced it, and I want to say not too long after that, I began to kind of buy girl clothing items and things like that. We had quite a bit of people excited for us. So I ended up having like 4 baby showers, I want to say. One through the job, one for each side of the family, and for my friends. So it was nice.
I had one at my job for me. I was like, oh, I appreciate y'all. They do this for men too. I mean, it's kind of weird because I'm a guy. But the fact that they did that was nice. So
yes, it was so many people excited for us, and so that meant everything to us at the time. Let's fast forward to when I went into labor. I can recall having one of my last doctor's appointments, and I had never heard about the mucus plug, but they went to just kind of do a check. And by that evening, I went to the restroom and the mucus plug was in the toilet. It scared me to death. Jeremy had stepped out to take the trash out, and I kept it in the toilet because I was like, I need him to see this. And so I had Jeremy look at it. I was like, what is this? And I want to say he looked it up and explained it. And I was like, oh my gosh, from everything that I was seeing, it was like, the next steps is this baby's on its way. So I was just like, oh my gosh, like I know that I've been ready to have my body back. I'm tired of being sick. I really want to see this kid already. But then like the nerves just were, I was super scared. So
and I can't remember either before or after the plug came out. I can't remember which order, but I just know, me being a gamer, I was anticipating the release of NBA 2K10, and it was a Michael Jordan edition. Came out at 12 o'clock midnight. So I found myself at GameStop in line trying to get, my MJ edition of 2K, NBA 2K10. And then to find out the plug, came out, I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm up here getting this game now. Plug is, I need to put some clothes on now. I didn't know how fast it was going to happen after that. So.
Yes. I actually rode with him to get the game. And I remember us putting a towel in the seat just in case like my water broke because I didn't know what to expect or whatever. I rode with him for that. We came back home, went to bed, and got up the next morning. And I went to the restroom. And I was like, okay, I just peed. And at this point, I am standing up and there's still something releasing from me. Jeremy, what in the world is going on here? Now, he is up because he's getting ready from work. By this time, I was already on maternity leave. I took it like prior to. So Jeremy is kind of like, listen, whatever it is, you need to let me know because where I work at, I got to be there on time. Can't play. So if it is what it is, let me know so that I can call in.
Yeah, because I was finna go to work. I got to keep a roof over our heads now.
Yes. So it was like, I mean, how else can we determine if this is like my water breaking or whatever? I called my mom and mom was like, that is it. Hurry up. You better hurry up because you can't let all of that come out. And I was like freaking out. Jeremy gets dressed. I get dressed, my bag, and we get in the car and we are like headed down the highway and we made it to the hospital and everything. So we made it to the hospital, if I'm not mistaken, at around 9 a.m. And Haley Sanaa Reese made her arrival that afternoon around 5, a little after 5. I want to say 5:20 or so.
And while we, 5?
Yeah, it was about 5:20 something. I think it was before 5:30 p.m.
One of the kids was like 5:37 to be exact. Was that Haley?
So then that was her. So 5:37.
Yeah, because the mind still work sometimes. But what I wanted to say, what I mentioned earlier about the doctor being a blessing, she had to have a C-section.
Yes.
And so, we were thinking, she was just going to have it naturally. But because she wasn't dilating enough, and the baby was experiencing distress, it's kind of a last minute call to go ahead and do a C-section. But it ended up being a blessing that we chose this doctor because he was kind of thorough. And when he got in there, he saw that you had some cysts or something like that.
Yes. And they call it teratoma tumors is what we found out later. So I can recall when I'm already afraid and I did not want the C-section. And so at first I had a view of the doctor, but when they cut me open and got ready to deliver her, I can remember hearing something like, do you see this? And I began to worry because I'm thinking something is wrong with my baby, And I honestly don't recall what happened after that because I was immediately put under. I don't even remember seeing Haley or anything at the time. I see pictures later where she was brought over to me and everything, and I'm half out of it. They immediately had to do surgery to remove the teratoma tumor. After much research later, I come to find out that with the teratoma tumor, it was on Ripley's Believe It or Not because of how strange it is. This tumor has different organs and body parts of a human being in it. It can consist of hair, teeth, all kinds of things. It was the strangest thing after I was able to look into it more and see pictures of it.
Yeah, I kind of make fun of her a little bit because when they put her on there, she was looking.
I looked strange. Like the pictures, I don't even know if I can show y'all those. I look crazy in them. Like that medication had me like just out of it completely. Do you recall like what you were thinking when they had to go into the surgery and stuff?
Yeah, I was a little, nervous because, this is all new to me, especially you throw a curveball in there like that. We're going to make a quick decision. Okay. I don't even know what this is, first of all.
Yes.
And now you're talking about operating like it was just a lot of stuff going on at once. And I'm trying to hold the baby, Dyveonne, you see? And then she drove and look at, because they putting her under and you really couldn't enjoy the moment with Haley being born because of everything that was going on.
It was so much. I'm grateful though that a good amount of our family was there. My mom was there. Jeremy's mom was there. His brother and things like that. So they were a support in the time and everything. Once Haley was born and they completed the surgery and everything, I want to say it was around 9 that I can recall like coming through everything, and Jeremy.
She's about to make me the villain, y'all. Don't come for me in the comments, and please.
This brother decides to go home for the night so that he can get some good sleep instead of sleeping on the couch or sleeping being by my bedside after all I've experienced. He's like, I'm going to the house so I can go to sleep. I'm tired.
23, okay?
Lord have mercy. So I'm still back and forth and under. Our parents have left by this time and everything. And I recall waking back up around 2 or 3 a.m. and I was like, I don't have my husband here. I kind of remember, like, didn't he say something about he was going home? Okay. And with it being this time of night, he's deep sleep. So I was like, there's no baby here. I don't have a husband. And I was just like super emotional. I did get a chance
I'm sorry now looking back retrospectively. I was young. And all I know is I wasn't going to, because they didn't have what they have now, where you have the, bed you can pull out or whatever. It was just a straight up and down chair like this. And I was
reclining chair.
No, I don't even think the chair reclined because they moved us into the overflow, remember? Mm-hmm. The regular part was, I don't know, I guess it was full or something. So they moved us into this overflow part and everything was old and stuff. I don't think the couch folded out. And if it did, it
didn't fold out. I think it just legs up. I don't even think you could sit back. And something like that. I was looking
like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to sleep. I cannot sleep at all sitting up like that. So I was like, I'm just going to go home and then I'll come back early. Just got to give me a few hours.
Jeremy comes back and let me just back up a little bit. So when they do bring her to me at that time of the morning, they kind of talk to me about like breastfeeding and things like that. And so we tried it. And I can recall because the medication was so strong that they used to put me under. I remember like falling asleep while I was while I was feeding her and everything. And so they had to come back and get her and just take her back. It was a lot. The next morning we get up and I want to say we were at the hospital maybe about 2 or 3 days. And they end up having a new parenting class. So if you were first-time parents, you had to attend this class before you could leave. And so while we were there, I was just so happy to have my baby. I wanted her with me. Most of the other parents did not bring their kids to the class. They wanted to be able to focus and everything. But I had Haley there. And so when they did the C-section, a lot of the fluid, got in her lungs. So while we were in there, she began to choke and I had no clue of what to do. The class they had to stop class and immediately like take her out and try to get her up to par. That it freaked me out. It made me super nervous and everything. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, what have I done? Like, how is this happening to her? What happens if it occurs again? We had the car seat there. We didn't even know how to like put that together or how to put her in it. It was just so much. And I just felt like, I felt like I was 16 and pregnant because I was so out of the know and everything. So, but I'm just so grateful because the people at the hospital, they really, really tried to work with us and everything.
Yeah, I was nervous and scared. I was like, I don't know what to do with no little baby. You want us to leave? I felt like they let us leave pretty fast.
Yeah.
And so it was like, y'all ain't really taught us what I'm gonna do. Mama!
Yeah, it was like a baby boom or something. Like you said, I had forgotten about the fact that we were in the overflow and everything. But we ended up going home. And when we got home, Jeremy was like, Dyveonne, listen, you go ahead and get you some rest. I'll watch Haley and everything. In this time, they actually had staples in my stomach from the C-section. So I was afraid to lay down flat. So I was like, I'm just going to kind of sit up on the couch and fall asleep and everything. And I recall falling asleep. And it seems like when that sleep started to get good, I could hear Haley choking. And it sounded just like it was when we were at the hospital. And so, excuse me, when she started choking like that, I didn't care anything about those staples in my stomach. They could have went all the way through to my intestines. I just needed to get up and get to my baby. And so when I tried to jump up to get to her, I mean, it's to the point where it seems like she's not going to like come out of this. I was so afraid. I thank God for a praying husband and for a husband that was able to be alert and vigilant in that moment, able to like calm down and think rationally in the moment. I could not. Jeremy laid hands on Haley and he began to pray the prayer of faith and all of that over her. And I'm thinking, why are you doing that? I need to be hitting her back or something. No, that was everything we needed in that moment. It seems like she just snapped out of it and she came to and she wasn't choking anymore. I thought I was going to lose my baby in that moment. And I remember just sitting there crying afterwards. And Jeremy's trying to console me. He's making sure she's good and everything in that moment. And I was just like, I thought I wanted one, but this is so much. This kid's life is in our hands.
Yeah, it's a lot, man.
It was a lot. But I thank God that she came through. And from then, we actually put a prayer cloth that we get from our church. We put that in her baby bed and it had to stay under there. Even when I washed her sheets or anything, I made sure I put that back. I was like, I never want to experience this again. We didn't have that issue anymore. And I thank God for a praying husband in that moment and for being a prayer answering God. I'm so grateful.
Appreciate the Lord for answering prayers. And we didn't know that when women have C-sections, that's typical for, a lot of excess fluid. And sometimes, babies can choke from that, but we didn't even know nothing about C-section because we expecting everything to go normal.
Yes.
So when you throw C-section out there, we hadn't even researched that or nothing to know what all comes with that. So
yeah, I was looking forward to Jeremy being able to cut the umbilical cord and get those pictures and things like that. It doesn't turn out that way all the time, ladies. So, I just suggest to be prayerful. I mean, if you look at the statistics and everything, sometimes the moms don't even make it out after they have a baby via C-section or natural birth. So I am so grateful that even if death wanted to pass over, it had to go on up out of there. God brought us through with the victory. And I'm so grateful for that.
So how was your sleep impacted? After you said you wanted one, was it sleep?
I don't need him saying it like that. But it was impacted. Jeremy gave me the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom then. So I ended up reaching out to my job and was like, hey, I won't be returning. I am going to be home with my baby. And I was grateful for that opportunity. I could not sleep. That girl was up. She was up and at 'em. But I breastfed and I also gave her bottles. So that allowed both of us to have a part in feeding her and things like that. Jeremy has returned back to work because I think they allowed him, 4 weeks off, if that.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to make sure that he was able to sleep through the night and rest so that he was able to keep that roof over our heads and be able to focus at work and things like that. And that was the other thing. I was like, listen, if I'm gonna be missing out on sleep like this is definitely gonna only be one again.
Yeah. I know that was a lot, but that's pretty much how we became the parents of Haley. Oh, Haley, what you doing here?
Just texting on my phone.
Well,
it better not be no boy.
Yeah, it sure better not be. You don't play that. Well, since you dropped on in, won't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and what makes you Haley?
Hi, I'm Haley. I'm 13 years old. I was born in 2010. My favorite food is wings and spaghetti. My favorite color is teal. My favorite subject is science, and I like to write. What I love about my mom is that she takes us to the store and she watches shows with us. My favorite thing about my dad is that he tells funny jokes and he buys games for us to play.
Sound like I'm the funny one after all, huh?
In her eyes.
No, whatever. She be hating. Whatever. Well, Haley, we appreciate you joining us on Couples Couch and telling us a little bit about yourself. And guess we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
She done vanished on us, huh?
Okay.
Whatever. But on to the next part.